Erotic fragments for #postdildo for Chloe Alexandra Thompson. Looking for headless spicy fun. Looking for someone to come inside so I can squeeze it out. Looking to squirm across the kitchen floor like a slug. What am I, if not a concept to stick an entire fist inside? Wait, I don't want fist, I just need a hand with all digits jizzer-sized. Did you know, depending on dominance, one hand is jealous of another? So if you happen to be ambidextrous, you got it, babe. Looking to feel a sense of cold plus slick metal, slow right or left in. There are those who'd give a pretty penny. Looking for headless plus really horny, I can act dead plus still kick it. Looking for Yogi Bear to steal a picnic basket. I don't need love bullshit, just an endurant jaw. Please do something, anything, before I reenact a kinky relationship with work. Looking to gouge you back. If you want a friends, I can be friends. If you want a shit, I can be shit. Occasional bipedalism transgresses that boundary underfoot. As for arrest, I pull heads off. Looking for a telepath who can read a mind over an unknown span of time. Looking to receive fatal internal injuries from voluntarily submitting to such knowledge. Looking to get ducked. Is it almost too depressing to poet about? Looking for underwater worlds that have far more natural abundance plus diversity than terrestrial worlds. If you have 6 arms plus 2 legs plus enjoy a world that differs markedly from a world above a surface, show up. Switch with postdildo. At a disco, you treat a hysteric with an Italian word for delight at over 150 BPM. Treat it real good. You encounter a dildo outside a marketplace while I penetrate a self with a whole body, plus give birth to a self. Who does a dildo liberate, plus who does a dildo oppress? Perceive a dildo as a castrated man, a cock replacement, but then you plus I must adhere to a culture you plus I long ago rejected. All sex is half-baked, said a Latin word for essentialism. You once said how it's all about class, and I rebut how it's all about sass. You plus I have a no-holds-barred attitude to what you plus I insert. What if all limbs had minds? What if all dildos were connected by a mainframe other than a silicone manufacturer? Big life questions over yonder. A dichotomy worth pursuing is not queer versus feminist discourse, but power over versus power with. You plus I measure cleats the size of dicks plus call ourselves a pretty skirt. There are no weather delays, there are no generations. Don't kill turfs, grind them to pulps, common people. I mean, concentrate on what matters. A relational model of power acknowledges neither domination nor submission to be total, plus a possibility of being powerful, plus powerless at the same time is possible, too, because of an intersection of intersections. This is not stasis, this is movement, bitch. For my comrades who love the film Rainbow Man, plate of shrimp. If I were a dildo, you would be properly ontological. You would froth like a second carapace, bust clarity open, because I read what you want online without letting go. Albeit a lattice stitch with shrimps, not up to wager when already committed to shutting down machinery. If I were a dildo, I would be 2 meters high, concatenating pessimistically off nihilistic bile. What would emerge if not a stated preference for eugenics, surplus, polywogs emerge dealing with a stated preference for mahogany, straight grain timber? When all a world's fisheries push beyond their biological limit, what will a straight-grained man of Tinder post in 2048? Sexuality is coexistence with a lack of shell life. In 2048, there will be no Tinder, only tender. No human shopping, only sensitivities conspiring together. Is it also neo-fascist to hope Mark Zuckerberg dies after Facebook? Asking revenge for a friend. This same friend asks whether branding some species to flourish over others is wrong. Disease is good for a fish, but what about plenty of smaller fish appearing on an ocean surface, plus predators becoming more titillated at a promise of food? Not everything connects, nor should it. Where is it? There it is. Education is only valuable for keeping a cunt, for Philip Best. Mao Zedong's assertion does not educate, but does investigate a thirst trap for knowledge. You spittle spattle a criminal translation as a blind man gropes his fishies. Such cuntish dispositions stem from a cuntish decision. A cuntish decision stems from a cuntish judgment, plus a cuntish judgment stems from a Thoreau, plus necessary reconnaissance, plus from poundering on, plus piercing together a data of various cunts gathered through reconnaissance, with zeal a thirst strap for knowledge as hobbycock. Does a hobby horse have a hickory dick? Does a fish still have fellow feelings after discarding a drowsy dross? All these applicable accounts Marlowe minds already made preceding a study of imaginary dyes, besides a study working out plant sex organs, completes a process of knowing a situation's visions, tastes, refusals, plus projects, petrarches an enemy's situation, retaining a true fool edging up closer to a butts cracked pedal, eliminating false consciousness so as to stick it to limits of investigative capacity measured by weight gain frenzy, threatening to smack upside a head with a dislodged bookcase. Thank you for not pushing all this oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, calcium, plus phosphorus up a fucking bookcase. You grabbed all this pot-belly, snurgling, pathetic. Thank you for applying all these possible plus necessary methods of reconnaissance, campaigning about adoring a condom after sex, writing planners, speak detergently so as to manner a social cipher, swelling to pin down a laser, marks on papyrus. A preposition threads one word to another so a baby understands a reference other than mama. Remain superficial or get to a cunt-treat essence, or a walnut replaces this throat, filling it with accounts of one's shelves. Silence is rights. When I finally lobby this shelf to speak, a decision becomes nil from heavy drinking. So I drink only water. And as a special treat, filth. We're not done. Postdildo, or plagiarizing Paul B. Preciado. I have to be honest, a word for cund is a palatial cat paw. In a sense, a finely tuned word has you plus I squill with delight. How an errant sperm can fuck a uterus's life plus body plus a spermatozoan shoot is fine. So you plus I write not for offspring. File confessional cum rags under a Governor General's award. As a word, dildo designates all kinds of technologies of gender and sex that resist a normative production of a body and its pleasures. I prefer not to appetite such things, rather marinate imagination with renounced family holidays in preference for a shared agreement with vanity. You plus I draw red lines up plus down forearms. You plus I flesh these sacks a tadpole more seriously after a dash of unclaimed prescriptions. I think you plus I wish to marry, not with one another, but with writing about a body as a dildoscape, a living surface where dildos are inscribed. So, with a prehensile dildo strapped to a chin like a violin, I draw more dildos on all these forearms, no longer concerned with a faint hint of previous lines, let alone what was said before. Somewhere along a line, a relative will ask, well, what does it mean to consider a body as a dildoscape, a living surface where dildos are inscribed? It means you plus I pick up where you plus I left off. You plus I cannot afford to love anymore within a heteronormative regime. If writing is a dildo of metaphysics of presence, then post-dildo is writing a sweet presence of action, of yearning. I imagine any common drug user I know, including you plus I with a PhD in brilliance. I don't know anything more than what is drawn up plus down a forearm. I don't want to know more. Sign manifestos until a signature signs itself. Not only do you plus I use a dildo, you plus I adorn a funny tinfoil hat while becoming one. Yoked together my homo plus my normative, my homo plus my national, declare you plus I all wholes willing to. Dildo the cum commodity. Okay, guys, I really need some help. Meanwhile, post-dildo rebels against history, fingering coded proponents of symbolic orders. This is embarrassing. Away an eye gushes so hard by Rosalka's humming hummers, crash cargo ships, carry loots down abyssal depths. Meanwhile, dildos are on a rise. You temper, I goosh, this popular commodity. Dildo is often listed as of unknown origin, plus has a secondary definition that applies to a stupid or ridiculous person. After you, stupid. Meanwhile, dildo-fueled inspirational bricolage could alter what is sexy about sexuality. Praxis is praxis, endeavoring to build upon contradiction where a dildo liberates plus alienates. Meanwhile, you plus I start dildo-splaining that a dildo isn't a substitute but an emotional support animal. Meanwhile, you plus I are ready-made prosthetics available plus detached from any supposed owner who ridicules public beggary. Meanwhile, you plus I like a word cock, plus like to privilege language. As the saying goes, dildos don't kill people, people kill dildos. Anyone can fashion a dildo with a right wallet for a right price tag. Anyone can savor time with a right Saturn. Meanwhile, desperate to understand a position in encountering a new sex, a new intimacy, you plus I murder old safe words. Right now, anchors can be raised to brave, unknown, fantastical significances. Odysseus can be unbound, plus drowned, plus velvet underground.